Welcome to Power Pals, everybody. You guys want to start us off with a song?
Oh, God.
It's like old times.
For old time's sake. Ghouls and snakes are everywhere.
A song we didn't practice or discuss or consider beforehand. Let's just everyone jump in.
What if we went the opposite, like, nightmare route and did, like, a Leonard Cohen song to start us off or something?
I would love that. I would love that.
You know?
We've got Avery's using a headset because she's recording in a toilet right now. So there's
it's actually true.
A lot of bounce back.
Jeez.
Avery, is there a way to turn your mic down just a little bit?
Yeah, probably.
Maybe on your laptop. Maybe you can look at that as I talk about your accolades. If anyone's joining us for the first time, Avery Faith is the 2011 World Prize winner at BlizzCon for coolest, awesomest costume, with a cash prize.
Coolest person in attendance. It was nothing like that.
800,000.
Nothing like that.
800,000. Which is why she's in the lavish bathroom you see before you.
I'm sitting in a toilet with a headset on. Mm-hmm.
The $800,000 all went to this one.
Be careful
restroom.
What you wish for, kids.
Yeah.
I'm a cautionary tale.
She got really stoned, and she had her architect design a house that was only bathrooms, and they just linked one into the other.
She was like, shame in where I live. Fuck all that. I don't need a virtual background.
You're going to know. I want you here with me.
Oh, man. And you guys can follow her on social media at Sick Horse with a 0 instead of an O. We're also
because I'm a hacker. I'm like a cool old school hacker type person. So that's what the 0. It represents the O because like visually they're similar, but you might not get it. It's hacker stuff. It's too cool for you.
Hackster.
Hacksaw, yes.
Hacksaw speak.
That's very hacksaw leet with 2 3
3s and a 7.
I love that we've got a storybook picture of Avery smiling instead of her
right, yeah. This is how I'll remember her.
I'm fiddling with my settings. Oh, this is the worst ever. Welcome to the world
her laughing.
In the pandemic. I remember her smile. Oh. Because there was nothing else to see.
Maybe you just get that microphone a little bit further from your face then. Because it sounds fine. It's just a little bit loud.
What if I put it in my eyeball like that?
That sounds pretty good, actually.
Okay. Eyeball. It works. I feel like Jordy or something. Like it's just this cool like.
Dude, every fucking time I put on headphones with any sort of attachment, I always go right up to the eyeball to be like, would this be a cool targeting thing for Cyberpunk? Every time.
I know all of these things we're doing are meant with love, but I'm starting to feel like we're ganging up on you, Avery.
You know what? It's all right. It's nothing I'm not used to. So welcome to it. It's okay.
There's nothing mean about wanting to have cyberpunk eyes on a headset. That's a real thing.
You're right.
That's a nice thing.
That's a compliment.
Intimate.
Yeah.
And it's pretty on brand, including the bathroom. Like all of this is real right for me.
The guy who wanted us to stop making fun of Avery for recording this podcast on the toilet, his name is Mike Black.
Right.
It's got a heart of gold.
He has his name on the Comedy Store wall. You might remember him from lots of other podcasts that we've worked on together, like the Action Figure podcast.
Oh, so long ago. 8 years ago.
And the Andrew DeWitt Show. So he's also the regular co-host of Power Pals.
So right around when Avery was winning most incredible cosplayer of all time and $800,000, I was getting $15 to be bumped by Joe Rogan. Sleep in the back of the Comedy Store and go go back home after getting a chili dog somewhere with another.
Yeah, but those were the crazy days at the Comedy Store, though. That's where people were eating butts on stage. Dana told me something about the Don Barris show that he would do, where
he would get audience members to fuck on stage.
I know, that's crazy.
It was crazy. Ari showed his balls on stage. Ari Shafir.
Yes.
He was blindfolded while he was showing his balls on stage, and another comic, Steve Renazizi, ran from the back and hit him with a full water ball, and you just heard this loud flap when they hit. And he thought it was funny that it had happened to him, so he kind of smirked and then doubled over and fell down.
And then experienced it. So,
He was like, "Oh, you got me," and then down.
Good one.
Yeah, I think Danish told me that for payback that Ari, that when he went before Steve, took his nutsack out and rubbed it all over the mic stand before Steve had to come out.
He was the host one night and came to get me off stage. Wearing nothing but a belt and lightly stroking his penis while he stood next to me until I got weirded out enough to get off stage.
There is something about the slow stroke, like the sensual stroke, that is so much more uncomfortable.
Well, and
I'll take a jerk any day, But
I don't know. Sometimes if it looks like a wrap-up jerk, you got to get the fuck out of there.
It's going in a circle. Yeah.
When it gets to wrap-up speed.
A lot of it depends on the breathing, but at that time, what I didn't like, what I found disturbing, wasn't his penis in his hand slowly stroking. It was looking at me like,
it did.
Is this okay? Are we okay with it? I don't want to answer one way or the other. So I gathered up my belongings and got off stage.
And that is pretty much how the Comedy Stores run now, right?
No, it's entirely different now. It used to be like the Island of Misfit Toys, and now it's like either be real attractive or have a TV show, and you can do 10 minutes.
The two often cross over, coincide.
Funny how that works. Yeah. That seems to be the case.
Well, Avery, what is this show about?
Well, first of all, aren't we going to talk about your accolades? Because we talked about mine and Mike's, and you should give yourself a little credit.
My name is Andrew DeWitt, and I'm here to say I love Power Pals in a major way.
I love that every time given the stage and the option to like present yourself, that's what you go with. It's like this will really blow their socks off. Yeah.
It did. It did blow your socks off.
Again, time and time again.
It knocked Mike into another planet, Avery into a toilet, me into the logo of our show.
Now, was that a Fruity Pebbles rap, or was it a Mario Brothers rap?
No, because the Mario Brothers rap was, the Mario Brothers and plumbing's the game. They found a secret warp zone working on the drain. If your sink is in trouble, better call them on the double. They're not like the others. You'll be hooked on the brothers. It was real good.
I think that is all the accolades you need, right? Is that you can recall that entire rap on command.
I'm a professional illustrator, and you guys have probably heard other podcasts of mine where I talk similarly about butts, but with more derision from other people who aren't as cool as you guys about the whole
not
butt
as accepting.
Yeah, so you probably haven't gotten as much of the butts in the other stuff because he gets held back.
You sound like Max Headroom on a toilet. It's amazing. We're in for a wild ride, folks.
What did you guys do today? Did anyone do anything today?
Yeah, I did. I drew a naked witch with an antler crown with a sacrificial knife.
Okay.
You can check it out on my Instagram at DeWittiot. And then my daughter did crafts too. She did a super duper cute little ghost. I wonder if I can share it on the video real quick. Let me see if I can pull it up and share it.
That is amazing.
That's a good, fantastic. It's photorealistic.
Well, you
The
guys
ghost looks
with
like
your
you.
with your bits, you asses. Let me see if I can do this. Take a snapshot there. Well, maybe that's not going to work.
What if you just hold it up on your phone?
Oh no, there's a way to share it with you guys. It's even better.
I don't know if it is.
Well, you might be right, Mike.
I have it right here. I could solve all our problems right here.
Oh,
It's right
look
here.
Can you hold it up to the camera, Avery? Oh, yeah. Okay, now it's clear. Yeah, that looks cool.
I can share content this. I can do it here. I figured it out finally.
It's already done.
Well, look at this motherfucker.
It's been done. Here you go. Yeah, this is better. This is better. Look at that. Look how fucking cute it is.
Look at this little sad ghost. He doesn't want to do anything.
I love that he's like leading with his tummy.
Yes.
Well, he's got one foot out like he's about to start a dance routine. You know, like a little soft shoe.
I love it.
In front of the garden there.
I love that little thing. She did another one. I'll do a real quick one because this is what we do on the podcast: is share my child's crafts.
Hey, I don't think we have a lot of rules on this one.
Yeah, it is the Wild West.
That is true. Look at this pumpkin. You guys see that?
Yeah. There's a lot going on in that pumpkin.
Look at that half smirk, man. Look at this guy.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Yo, I'm a pumpkin.
You don't got to worry about me.
That's exactly what I texted that to Avery. I was like, the quote of the pumpkin is, "You guys don't need to worry."
I got it on lockdown.
Oh, that's great.
I got the coronavirus shit on lockdown. Don't you worry about me.
I tell you what, man, we just went ahead and went Halloween now. That
pumpkin is a living Billy Joel song. He's doing just fine.
I don't care what you say anymore. This is my life. Yeah, he packed his bags and moved to LA to do stand-up during quarantine. Imagine someone getting here right now being like, "I'm ready to do stand-up."
I think about that all the time. Like, almost every day, I think how much it's got to suck to have, like, done what I did and worked for 2 years, saved up and got a bus ticket, came here, get off the bus, and it's all fucking closed.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine how much that bites your dick to get to LA and have that happen.
Would you just stay?
Yeah,
I think I would have. I think I had that youthful, like, hey, I'm committed to this. It's going to be bad anywhere. So I may as well stay.
Beginning, when we thought it was going to be like 6 weeks, you know what I mean? When it was just kind of like, oh yeah, things are going to be inconvenient for a bit, you know?
And like, if I could afford it, I would. I don't know that I would have been able to afford it, but like with not having a job right when you first get here, that would be rough. You know?
Yeah, dude. When I first, let's talk about our first getting to Los Angeles. So first of all, this show is about dirty, nerdy, flirty, and squirty stuff. And we talk about comic books and all that other kind of cool, geeky stuff. But also we get balls deep on personal growth, therapy, and other sex.
I love that's completely unironic, too.
Yeah. I like to think there are a lot of people on parole that listen to our podcast.
Yeah,
and
I think
really
the phrase "balls deep on personal growth" might be a first.
I don't know, maybe, but yeah, I think it helps a lot of them make some tough choices on what they're going to do next.
So what did you, Mike, what did you do when you first moved to LA to try to make money?
I honestly lucked out pretty hard because I booked a commercial within like a month.
You son of a bitch.
It was like a Nike golf campaign.
Oh, you motherfucker. You were in the 90s. This was the 90s, right? Late 90s?
It was tail end of 99.
Okay, so that's $45,000 right there.
It was more, considerably more than $45,000.
Dude, that's so good.
It was 8 commercials. And like the number 2 golfer in the world was in one of them. And like it was just a really good, like I didn't work again for like a year and a half. It was all just like trying to do stand up, but that first thing went good. And it was enough to get me a nice rent controlled sort of place and get started, you know. But I was still like, I was smart about the money to an extent. Like I went to strip clubs and stuff like that, but
automatic disqualification.
Good thinking.
Automatic
Good thinking.
You better get hammered.
I was responsible. I mean, I went to strip clubs. It's not like I didn't take care of my money.
I would say responsible to an extent. I mean, I did go to strip clubs.
I don't want everyone to think that I like really knew what I was doing.
You like invested in a day trading portfolio.
No, I ended up getting on the hook. I bailed out a Nigerian prince. That took care of a little bit of it. Then, I invested in a business that ended up being a pyramid scheme. But other than strip clubs, pyramid schemes,
you may have heard of a search engine called Alta Vista. Sank a little money into that. That investment could mature any day now. No, I knew that I didn't have a lot of financial knowledge, so what I would do is I would just eat raw. I would live like a poor person, even though I wasn't. I got like super cheap rent in Koreatown, and then just ate ramen every day, and then like every now and again I would splurge and go to a strip club or something.
Yeah,
well, I've always thought that when you see someone who like makes it big and then goes out and buys something like crazy, I'm like, okay, but in order to like maintain this, you have to keep doing big. Whereas if you like got something and then like bought something reasonable, you could maintain that. But
yeah, like one of the other guys in the commercial, he just bought a really like crazy nice car.
Yeah.
And I was like, get comfortable with that car because it's going to be like the next 30 years of your life in that thing, And it was like, I think it was a Porsche, if I remember correctly, but no options. It was like like if you looked inside it, it was just gutted, just totally empty. It was the frame of a Porsche was what he could afford.
Like a Fred Flintstone Porsche.
Right. Yeah. No engine, no nothing,
He's got camping chairs in the back for his seat.
Yeah, and I was like, what are you doing with that? And he was like, fake it till you make it, bro. He's like, dude, people see me showing up in a Porsche. Don't think this guy has it going on.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That guy was an idiot, Mike, because I have a friend who did that, moved from New York to Los Angeles, and the first thing he did was try to buy a manual shift, like old school, like Pontiac Firebird or something like that, with without the top, like a convertible.
With no top.
Yeah, no top. And he was like, well, when they see me pulling on the set for my auditions and something like that, they are going to know they're dealing with a serious actor. And it's like, you're buying a convertible muscle car. First of all, he also didn't drive stick. So then
I
he
When
had
they,
bought
see,
the
when they
car.
see that thing lurching onto set, you know, they're gonna respect me.
I just love the sentence too when I come pulling up in that thing to set for my audition.
For my audition, have you been to Hollywood yet? What is happening?
How many cars have you seen pull up to set? First of all, let alone for an audition.
Kid, you're fantastic. Let's get you in the wardrobe. They're filming now. This is
now.
This is a ridiculous way to handle this, but this is how we do it in Los Angeles.
You have an audition for a straight to industrial commercial. We're going to give you a drive-on pass onto the lot at Warner Brothers.
Dude, I don't know if I had the heart to tell him. First of all, you're never going to drive onto set to audition, you fucking moron. And the second, you don't know how to drive stick. So it is going to look like a 16-year-old is ruining their dad's car. Best case scenario, you get on the Warner Brothers, and then it's like they're like, "Who's the dipshit in the Pontiac?"
We need to report this as stolen because it obviously is.
Then karma hit on that one because a day later he called me on the side of the road. He needed me to pick him up because he had a panic attack because he couldn't drive stick and was on the 405 in rush hour traffic, but the kind of rush hour traffic where it is bumper to bumper at like 80. Remember how like sometimes it does that? Where it's super slammed but super fast. And he was like, like just ripping up the gear.
And that was back when people would murder you on the highway if you fucked them over in traffic. People used to shoot each other. Everyone forgets that.
Yeah.
I remember that. It was like I was so afraid of getting like carjacked for a while. You know, like that was one of my number 5 fears. You know, top 5. Yeah.
So I had to pick him up on the side of the road, and then he called a tow truck. This was with he had the Carfax guarantee buyback, and so he just had Carfax come tow his car, and I was like, what? Why are you what's wrong with the car? Is it not working? He's like, I had a panic attack. I can't handle this traffic, man. I can't handle this traffic. I don't know how to drive stick. And I was like, what are you doing? You don't know how to drive stick? Oh my God. And you're on the 405? You didn't want to practice? Dude, you could have gotten
diving in head first.
You could
I had a friend from college who he refused to drive on the freeways. The first month we were out here, we were like, let's all go out to Santa Monica. He was like, how do I get there? And we were like, take the 10. He was like, oh, I don't do freeways. Well, then you're not
going anywhere.
Yeah, you have to move. He moved on.
I have, I understand that though, because I would take Sepulveda. Anytime I have an option to, I will take Sepulveda instead of the 405 because I really like that tunnel.
Isn't
that a dumb reason? You know, that tunnel.
It is.
Is that the Roger Rabbit tunnel?
Yeah, it's the Roger, and it's been in a bunch of stuff. But yeah, it's got that little light that flashes if there's a bike in the tunnel, and like I don't know, I just really like tunnels.
It's been in a ton of movies. It's been in Terminator and Roger Rabbit and a bunch of different stuff.
Yeah, but I would take that just for that, just because I'd be like excited to drive.
Now, do you do Laurel Canyon instead of the 405?
Yeah. I love Laurel Canyon.
To me, it's the devil or the deep blue sea. Really, like they're both so crazy dangerous that I almost just don't want to go wherever I'm going over there. It's like I'll just stay home and not die.
Yeah, you can whip around turns on Laurel and Mulholland so fast, and
I'm sure I'm gonna run over a hippie, like just winding around a turn, just trying to go the flow of traffic, you know.
Yeah. So you got lucky, and you booked a commercial that's split into 8, and that's awesome. I had something a little bit similar, but not until the first year. After the first year, Avery, what did you do?
I I grew up in Orange County, and so when I was 6, I started doing like acting and modeling and stuff, and
Uh-huh.
I would
Ooh.
go to LA fairly regularly. And I remember just feeling very kind of like kind of grown up and like inducted into something cool, you know? It felt
Mhm.
cool to know an area outside of your place that you lived. Because, you know, you think about it as a kid, like literally everything is just like to the end of your block or like what you have in
Yeah.
school. So to feel like there were parts of LA that I knew or that kind of thing. And I remember I got in trouble in school because whenever we'd go on like field trips to like a museum in LA or something, I'd be like, oh, LA can be kind of rough. There's like homeless people everywhere. The teachers were all, shh, don't scare the other kids, you know? And I'm like, but it's true.
They're gonna
I
see
don't know
them.
what to tell you.
Like,
Yeah,
I
right?
don't know
Better
what
they
you
know.
think you're hiding.
Yeah. But my acting career was pitiful. I think I got like 2 gigs ever.
Oh no, I don't
I
mean
was
like
on
when you moved to the city, like what did you have to do first?
yeah, so when I moved here, there was like a weird, like I was already kind of over that weird hump of like getting to the city and be like, I'm gonna make it because like I kind of did it when I was a kid. So
Uh-huh.
yeah, I was
Already
like,
made
yeah,
it,
well,
over it.
exactly. Right, I'm here. That's good enough. It was I moved up here and I got the first job really that I could, and it was right around the time that the GameStop had opened in the Empire Center. I mean, just like a few months after that. And at that time, I was really just thinking of it as like a temporary thing. And I'm like, oh, I know games. I play World of Warcraft most of my life, you know, like
Yeah.
this is a good way to make money at it. And it just kind of stuck. And it's funny because obviously I don't think of like the GameStop thing as a career, but it fed my nerddom in a way that like pre 2007, it was just kind of like yeah, I like some nerdy shit. Like
Yeah.
post getting the job at GameStop, it just became like, yeah, like better dive in. And then obviously all the
Turns
stuff
out
like
I
cosplay
love
and
some
everything.
nerdy shit.
Exactly. Well, it also, I mean, I know I go back to this cliche a lot, but I grew up in a time period, just in the age where it was starting to crest a little bit, where like you could talk about it, like you could find other Star Wars nerds or D&D
Yeah.
nerds or whatever, but it was still definitely like niche. So I think I just never invested in nerddom because I, you know, went, oh, the choir thing is a lot more socially acceptable, and
Yeah.
you
You
know,
forget
and I can
it.
get away with that or whatever.
You kind of forget that it didn't really start going mainstream until about 2008, 2009, which was not that long ago.
Yeah,
You know.
No. No, it wasn't. And yeah,
yeah. So,
that's only 5 years ago.
Yeah. But yeah,
Every everything recently is only 5 years ago to me.
yeah, I'm kind of the same way. But like, I remember watching Comic Cons before that and after that. Like, if I had to put like a timestamp on it, it would have been like when the Iron Man premiere, like preview, started going out in theaters. That was
yep.
like the start of the change. And I think the Harry Potter movies
I feel like
were,
Avengers
and Twilight was a big
yeah,
part of it too,
Twilight really did it.
you
Yeah.
know. And but all of that was kind of like a perfect storm. The last Lord of the Rings was out around that time, and it all changed after that. Like the next year, it was like impossible to get into anything, and
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I feel like even the scale of like stuff like cosplay and nerddom and whatnot, like when I won in 2011, like I'm really not trying to knock myself or whatever, but like if I had taken that costume to the next BlizzCon, it wouldn't have registered. You know what I mean? Because
I know exactly what you mean. Yeah.
yeah, because there was a year of a break, like they did 2011 and then they didn't do 2012. And by the time they did 2013, I mean, nerddom and cosplay was a full on business, you know?
Yeah. It had
And
become like
I
an
just,
industry. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it's even sort of has been difficult in like fitting in the community, because I know on some level that like I can't do what a lot of these people can do, but like I'm still like, I still got my crown, like take it from
Yeah.
me, you know? Like,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, and I mean, like, you got to look at it as like, well, I helped pave the way for this. Like, this wouldn't be
Exactly.
happening had I not been doing what I was doing, you know. Andrew,
Yeah,
what
and it's
about
hard
you?
to kind of let myself have that because I don't feel great. I don't have a lot of confidence. But then, you know, when you really look at it, that I've heard from multiple people that for them, like the adjutant was like a moment for them, was something that really made them like sit up and take notice in cosplay.
Yeah, for
And
sure.
Right.
that feels really cool, you know?
Yeah.
Definitely. So when I first moved here, I wrote articles for I wrote how to draw articles for a content mill.
Oh, okay.
And I think I made about $10 to $15 an article, which means
how long were they?
They were not super long, but I couldn't get enough work just writing articles, right? It was the niche of doing the how to draw Bart Simpson or whatever, you know, like because I had the ability to do that, I could get all this other stuff, you know? So like, so the problem was that like I had to draw Bart Simpson, and then I had to go back and draw every single step for how you draw Bart Simpson or whatever, and then write the article for it too. So like draw an oval and then 2 circles for eyes, and then
so it was before when taping was really prevalent.
When what?
It was before like taping, something like that was really prevalent.
Yeah. So instead it was all just pictures. Step 1, do this. Step 2, you know. But the thing that sucked about this is that I had, because the pay was like $10 or $15 an article, I had to do like 10 articles a day, every day, 5 days a week for months. So I had done, I think, thousands of articles by my first year, and it would get to the point where like I was like losing my mind. You know,
like you're just looking around the room at stuff, being like, "Yeah, how to draw the chair in the room." You know, like this works, sure.
It was just so much. It was so much, and so think about that. That's like 10 drawings a day that then I have to break down as fast as humanly possible. So I was working like 12 to 16 hours a day every single day, doing that, and then I got a commercial agent. And I got a big NyQuil campaign, and that since it was pharmaceutical, they run the shit out of those. And so I that got split into multiple commercials. And then I was like, you know, fuck this article. I'm never gonna fucking do it again. You know? And they made it impossible for me to do it again anyway. Because they were like,
did you find two? Oh, sorry.
Oh, they had changed something where you couldn't upload your own artwork anymore, or pictures anymore. You had to use their like photo bank, you know? And I was like, well, you guys aren't going to get any how to draw articles done at all anymore. So like, this is done for me. I can't do this. Like I'm not going to be able to find a picture of Bart Simpson, even as a cartoon to reference, you know?
Right.
So then I was like, I wrote them, and I was like, hey, I do these articles for you guys. I won an award with them. And I was like, this isn't happening anymore because you guys aren't letting me upload anything. Is there any exception for these drawing articles? And they're like, it's a company policy that blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay, so I probably gave them hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of revenue, you know? Ad revenue and clicks and stuff like that. And I did thousands and thousands of articles with original drawings. And then I won an award. I got to do like some kind of guest speaker thing where I did like, because I was one of their top ranked article writers, specifically because of the drawings, you know? So I'd write funny articles with how to draw, and then I'd have the draw one, so it was like a good combo. But then, like, all that went out the window, and then as soon as I started getting my first residuals, I was like, you know what?
Yeah.
You guys can go fuck yourselves. I'm not gonna even try to make this happen anymore. And then I kind of coasted on getting by on commercials for a while, until I started doing podcasting and bit more illustration work, you know. But yeah, that first year we lived in a old meat cellar from the late 1800s. It was like a meat cellar because it was the land, the place we were staying on was used to be a cattle farm, but it's actually where the shitty part of Burbank is, right where like Burbank and North Hollywood meet, over by that Ralph's. You guys know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
So like where all the fucking
I just love that there's a shitty part of Burbank, but it's still like, you know, pretty okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's the shittiest part. Like, where it's right where all the transmission repair places are.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's like gang territory in Utah.
Yeah.
Still pretty nice.
But yeah, like, no, it gets immediately nice after you pass the Burbank water and power plant, you know, and then it's like, oh, this is a nice neighborhood. But up until then, it's a real dog shit place. Anyway, so the place we were staying on, they had a converted meat cellar that they used to keep the slaughtered carcasses of all the cattle inside. And then they had turned that into a studio apartment. And so that's where
a natural segue.
Yeah.
That's where we were staying. And our landlord decided to keep their dog, who they never played with ever, in a giant cage next to our window.
Man.
So the dog was constantly trying to get into the apartment, and then there was just feces piled up against our kitchen window because the dog's just taking dumps right by our kitchen window, you know? And then eventually we got a whole bunch of rats in our walls. And,
at a meat packing place? In the meat cellar?
When I first heard them, I remember saying, like, for whatever reason, not even thinking that they were rats, and going, oh, it sounds like they're I think they're baby raccoons in our wall.
Oh, what an optimistic sweetheart you are.
And then later I was like, oh no, those are rats. And they would wake us up because they were so loud at night. And I would go into the kitchen, I'd hear them scurrying around in the walls going nuts. And I would meow like a cat and hiss at the wall and scratch at the wall to get them to shut the fuck
like
up.
Like a madman. Like a fucking lunatic. Rather than calling an exterminator, you growled and hissed at the wall.
Yeah, dude. And then I got pneumonitis too, which is like a pneumonia from like breathing in all this animal feces.
Like a rat pneumonia, yeah.
Fucking shit.
So then the landlords like had to kill the rats. So they just hacked a hole in the wall.
I love the idea of the landlord rolling their eyes that they have to kill the rats now.
Yeah.
Somebody got pneumonia. And now we have to kill the rats. Make a big deal out of it.
So they
is it the lunatic that hisses at the walls? Yeah. Who else?
They hit a hole in the wall on the outside, then threw a bunch of rat poison inside, and then sealed it back up again, right? With
that'll help you for sure.
So then in a month, the whole place smelled like dead rats, and it was a smell that was unfucking believable. This smell was unreal, and there were corpse flies all in our apartment. I knew because I Googled them, because they were like trying to get at the delicious rotten meat of all these dead rats that were in our fucking walls.
Yeah.
And the corpse flies were so horny for these dead rats that they were just maggoting in the air. So they were just like dropping maggots out of their bodies. And I was like, this has got to stop. And I told them, you got to come in here, because we had put coffee we put coffee. I think Avery's throwing up.
I don't blame her.
But imagine living through it, though. You know,
what I
am. That's what's happening.
What I find alarming is that it was at that point that you said this has to stop.
Yeah.
It was at the air maggots that you were like, no, this can't go on.
No, when maggots were landing on things
long enough.
I was like, when maggots were landing on these things, this is done. I'm done with this, you know? But, and you can tell corpse flies by their beautiful green shine to the body of the fly. They have a really beautiful beetle green shine. So that's an indication that there might be a body somewhere if you see that. But anyway, so it stunk so bad that we'd taken coffee filters and poured coffee in them and put them everywhere. So everything was lined with coffee filters, you know? Mm-hmm. And then they got some guy they knew in the neighborhood to get the rats out, you know? And I could hear them doing it.
Like retching in the yard?
Yeah, I was listening to them doing it. So he opens up the wall and immediately he's like, the rats are in there? The rats are in there. Yeah, get them out. And he's like, okay. And then he turns on the flashlight or whatever, and then he goes, and he starts puking. He starts puking like crazy.
That's not what I was expecting.
At first, he just climbs right in and just starts vomiting. And I'm in the apartment, so he's vomiting into my walls. He's vomiting into my walls. And he's just being like, and it is so over the top. It is the loudest retching. And the landlord is pissed at him. And in the background, he's like, come on, man, get it together. Get it together. Pull yourself together, man. Pull yourself together. And like the dude,
I bet you it was like a rat king of death, just like a mound of like writhing corpses. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Dude, it was so nasty. And then the landlord's kids were there and they were like, does it look like Ratatouille? They were like,
No, it does not.
Dude,
that was so different from what I expect. I was expecting the guy to be like the hired gun that is like a professional at this sort of shit, you know. And
oh no, he was crying, like Mike.
A sin eater that he comes in and he's just like, I don't smell nothing. And he's like,
no, Mike, because I saw him.
And shit.
I saw him because he, like, when he pulled his head out, he made eye contact with me. He was crying. He was just crying and like just tears down. He's like, oh man, these rats stink.
Oh fuck. In the summer at the Comedy Store, it would smell like dead rat.
Yeah,
because they got into the walls and fuck, it was hardcore. But I can't imagine being the one who had to clean that shit out.
Dude, it was brutal. Fuck. It was brutal. So it took them
I feel
all
like
day.
We have to be bleeding listeners right now.
I think this is a pretty compelling story.
I grant you that 100%. It's compelling. I feel like a lot of people are leaving and never coming back.
Dude, but the best was then all the kids wanted to see the rat bodies, you know?
Of course.
And so then the guy who finally got all the rats out just holds up a whole handful of dead fucking rats. Like 7 rats in his head. And the kids who were like, I want to see the rats, like that. They were like, oh, and then they all go, and then you can hear the landlord go, don't fucking show them the rats.
Those kids are all criminals now. There's no way.
And then we moved. We waited through all of that. And then I was like, you know what? Let's take this commercial money and get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, that should have been step one before going, you know what, I'm going to do my best cat impression on these walls. That would have been the time to think, hey, you know what, I need to get the fuck out of here.
Mike, you might be similar to me, and I know Avery is with this, but I feel like all of us have experienced a certain level of childhood trauma in which when something goes bad, our first instinct isn't, well, fuck this, but
right.
How do I find the silver lining on this situation?
I got to dig in my heels on this shit.
Well, I guess I'm here for the long haul. Yeah, how do I make this good?
I'll tell you what, Mike, it didn't occur to me to find a new place. I was like, well, I can meow like a cat, and then, we'll see if that works. It didn't even occur to me.
I have 30
just
other
helped
ideas.
my friends. I just helped my friends move out of a place. And admittedly, part of the reason they moved is because there was a roach infestation. But as they're moving and we were packing stuff up, like I can smell the roaches, which I've heard people use that term before, that like people who've been in extreme poverty or have been in like hoarding situations are like, oh, you can definitely smell roaches. And there was a small part of me that was a little curious, like, I wonder what roaches smell like. Yeah, I'm not curious anymore. I've been sated forever. And even just that, where I was like, the stench of the roaches in that apartment was, I was like, I don't know how you haven't gotten out of here, how it got this bad. Like, I was gagging. I was trying to be helpful, but was like, oh my God. Oh dear.
Oh, dude, I don't know if I could handle it now. I mean, I was stupid before, and I'd be like, oh, this makes sense to me. Like, yeah, roaches and
probably deserve this,
Yeah, that's what it is. It's subconsciously thinking you deserve every shitty situation, and literally not realizing that I can leave is even an option. It was not even something I thought of.
Other people have nice places because they're good people.
Yeah. And if I work hard enough and I'm a good person, then maybe I'll get them. Now it's time for my inhaler.
First, I have to find love and gainful employment. Then I'll worry about the rats in the walls.
Love and gainful employment in that order. Love first.
If it's true, she'll support me no matter where I am. So she'll love me first, and then I'll feel inspired enough to go get a good job.
I did used
if you
to
can't handle me at my
screeching
at the walls, you don't deserve me at my commercial.
Yeah, if you can't handle me at my screeching at the walls, you don't deserve me at, are you going to lick my balls? Oh, I can tell you this much. No ball sack is ever getting licked with rats in the walls.
No. Except maybe by a rat. Nobody wants.
That is a no ball sack licking situation. You might be able to talk a chick into eating her pussy, and then she bails immediately. But there's nothing else that's going to happen.
As soon as you finish, she comes to her senses and gets the fuck out of there.
She's like, what am I even doing? They're animals. There are animals crawling around.
Watching this happen.
Yeah. Brutal.
And rats have such a shitty personality on top of it, too. That they just... They seem like they're really enjoying fucking everything up, wherever they are.
Well, they're like open mic comedians. I would say that like restaurants deal with open mic comedians the same way they deal with rats. They see them start an open mic, they go, oh, this is going to cost us business immediately. And then they fucking shut it down. Oh, man. So, you guys do anything nerdy today? That was how I moved to Los Angeles.
I didn't do anything nerdy today. Well, I probably did, but it doesn't even register for me. But yesterday, El Capitan had a virtual trivia game. for Marvel movie trivia. And I have to say I did pretty well. I was in the top 30. But the reason I didn't rank higher was because the first question, I didn't know when it went live, the options shifted about an inch. And so I was pressing it the second it went live, and I pressed the wrong fucking thing. And I was like, God damn it. And I know it cost me a lot of points.
Do you think if that didn't happen, you would have been top 5?
I don't know about top 5 because there were some real ballers playing. And
that's generous.
I would say, yeah, that's very generous. I would say at least probably like the top 15 or so.
Okay. Well, that's good.
But there were no prizes. There were no prizes, so I was like, well, then what the fuck are we doing all of this for? El Capitan. And they kind of were like ho-hum, like, oh, we can't afford prizes in this pandemic and whatever. It's like,
in this wintry economic climate.
Yeah, like you are owned by Disney, and we all paid $10 to play trivia here. There should be prizes.
Yeah, you could even take $5 of everything you took to play trivia, and then put it towards the prize.
Yeah, they didn't do any of that. The next one's Star Wars, and I'm thinking about it, but I'm probably not going to do it.
Well, whatever you got to do to stay sane during the quarantine,
As long as you guys support me, that's the important part.
Mike, I believe you can get top 10 next time.
I don't know. Star Wars is trickier because there's a lot more movies. Yeah, I can get top 20.
Would you believe top 25?
Yes.
Would you believe an old lady with a heavy purse? Remember how they used to do that on Get Smart, where you would try to talk them down? Right now, you're surrounded by 97 FBI agents, all armed to the teeth and ready to kill. I don't think that's true. Would you believe 20 FBI agents? Some of them have pistols. Most of them are just doing jujitsu. No. Would you believe an old lady with a heavy purse?
That was a great show.
Yeah, it was, man.
Mel Brooks and Carl Reiner writing on it.
It's super funny, dude.
The intro on it was great with all the different secret doors that he would walk through.
Yeah, dude.
And he was really good for that show. Was it Don Adams?
Yeah, I think so. And then he ended up doing Inspector Gadget after that.
Yeah, we're very similar sort of character, but really, really cool character.
And it's interesting because Inspector Gadget was made in France as kind of an homage to Get Smart. And he has this beautiful, huge black mustache in season 1 because it was animated in France. But they were like, Americans were like, fuck this mustache. You can't have him have this fucking mustache.
Oh, I thought they got rid of it because it was too close to Inspector Clouseau.
No, they got rid of it because it made him look foreign.
Nope. Can't have that. Only bad guys have mustaches.
I mean, when you see it now, like him driving around in the first season with like windmills in the background and shit, like there's no way he's in any part of the United States of America.
Windmills.
Well, it was such a trope that back then you were just a villain if you had a mustache
or an accent.
That was part of it too.
Like this, when they did like the Star Trek where they would go meet the evil versions of themselves, they all had goatees. And then they did the same thing on the Super Friends. They all meet their evil. I think even Wonder Woman had a goatee. Everyone was just like had real jacked up facial hair.
That's funny that goatee was synonymous with villainy at the time. I wonder why. Oh, because beatniks wore goatees, and beatniks were like the sort of Antifa of the time, and so they were like, these beatniks, these goatees are now synonymous with evil. These hip kids are wearing goatees. It would be like putting Superman in a mohawk now. You know?
Yeah, they should have given him a beret and like a pack of cigarettes.
Yeah, and a black turtleneck.
Yeah.
Oh man.
If Robin came in rocking all that shit, they're like, no, something's wrong with Robin.
Dude, I did like the Lego Batman movie where they explain how Robin's costume came about, because it was the Batman Jamaica costume, just without the Batman mask. It was his Jamaica Batman costume, and it's like perfect. It's like all those loud ass colors were just him. It looks exactly like
trying to blend in. Yeah.
And then Robin's like, I just won't wear the mask, and it's like, okay, well, there's his Jamaican costume, and that's how Robin was created. You know.
It's a lot nicer than the actual reason. It's the costume of his murdered circus performer parents.
That is nicer, isn't it, for a kids movie?
Mm-hmm. They're like, let's just not delve into that right now.
Jamaica Batman murdered family. All right.
I wear this because the rest of my family plummeted to earth because they didn't pay off Teamsters.
Jeez Louise, man. All those dark ass comic books. They don't. I love that those were for kids then, you know?
Yeah. They know the difference. It's fantasy.
Now I have an image of Alfred in the Batcave trying to make weird cat noises to scare off the bats in the cave.
Dude, I don't know if I can handle bats.
Him dry heaving as he's cleaning guano out of the cave.
Dude, I do know the smell of bat shit, though, because I did a community theater thing at some old church in South Carolina one summer, and that whole thing was full of bat shit, you know?
And that was also the headline of the review of the first of that play. That whole thing is full of bad shit.
I played the Brute in Chekhov's The Brute, and my wife was a local 47-year-old actress, the only one in town. I was 18 and a half, and pretended to be her age.
She'd mailed away for an actor prepares.
Yeah. She did a maybe. That's really funny, Mike. I'm doing post by mail acting classes
with Sally Struthers.
Dude, imagine Sally Struthers. She probably would have done something like that. Doing something like that. So we're gonna wrap up this episode in a little bit. Did you guys have anything else?
See if I care.
Do you have anything else nerdy you guys wanted to talk about before we get to the next one? I have a big thing I want to talk about for the next one.
Oh dear. Something nerdy? No, not really.
Well, let's just sit here in silence for a minute while we all come up with something.
Yeah, right.
You totally did. We waited. That was funny. We all just wait for you, and you're like, hold on. Something nerdy? Let's see. No.
Oh, hey, did either of you guys see Cobra Kai?
I just started watching it.
Okay. We can talk about that next episode.
Okay. Well, there's our teaser, folks. Hang on to your seats.
We stumbled onto a topic we're not that enthused about, so we'll talk about it on the next one.
You're in for a treat, so hang on to your seat. With action, adventure, and amazing feats. There's Koopa, there's Troopa, the princess, and the others hanging real tight. You'll be hooked on the brothers to the friends. Do 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 do. Mike Black, where can they find you on social media?
At Mike Black Attack on all social media.
You also do another show?
Yes.
What is it called?
Oh, it's called The Nighttime Show.
Yes, so what?
I hear you're taking a course in the art of conversation. Yes.
Yeah.
Are you looking forward to the complimentary business breakfast tomorrow?
Yes.
Avery Faith, where can they find you on social media?
Thick horse with a 0 instead of an O, pretty much everywhere you care to look.
And I'm everywhere at DeWittiet. And then on, I think, October 20th or October 22nd, the second half of season 2 for Misery Index comes back on TBS. So if you like my artwork, you'll see it there.
You better watch it.
And that's it, guys. Bye-bye.
Go away.
Farewell.